I never thought I'd kill for a signature, but there I was, staring at my mother's lifeless body in the penthouse tub, the water still rippling from where I'd held her under just long enough. It wasn't murder, not legally, anyway, because she'd begged for it in that final voicemail, the one that unlocked the clause she'd buried in the family trust like a landmine for her enemies. And the real twist? I wasn't even me anymore. The experimental neural swap at that black market clinic in Jersey had turned me into her perfect double, flesh and fury combined, ready to drag her empire down from the inside. The rain hammered the windows of our family's brownstone on the Upper East Side like it was trying to wash away the sins of generations. But sins like ours? They stick harder than gum on a subway sole. I was Madeline Harrington, the forgotten daughter, the one who'd clawed her way through Yale's business school on scholarships and spite, only to watch Mom, Victoria Harrington, Queen of Harrington Imports, slash my name from the will like it was a typo on a cocktail napkin. It happened 6 months ago, in a boardroom that smelled of leather and lies, with Dad's ghost hovering in the oil portrait above the mantel. "You're too volatile, Maddie," she'd said, her voice like iced vodka, smooth but lethal. "The business needs stability, not your passions." Passions. That's what she called it when I exposed the sweatshops in Vietnam that padded our margins, the ones where kids stitched designer labels for pennies while she sipped martinis at Met Galas. Betrayal hits different when it's blood. I'd taken the fall for her once before, fresh out of college, when the IRS came sniffing around a creative tax dodge she'd pinned on me. I was 22, green as a rookie trader on Wall Street, and I ate the misdemeanor plea to keep her empire gleaming. 2 years probation, a black mark on my record that killed my shot at Goldman Sachs. "Family first," she'd whispered then, kissing my forehead like I was still the little girl who'd idolized her boardroom conquests. But family? That word curdled in my mouth now, sour as the bile rising when I got the email. Revisions to Harrington Trust, effective immediately. Madeline E. Harrington, disinherited. I didn't cry. I plotted. Late nights in my cramped Hell's Kitchen walk-up, nursing cheap bourbon and scrolling through Mom's public facade. The Instagram reels of charity galas, the Forbes lists crowning her the iron magnolia of imports. But beneath it, whispers on Reddit threads and anonymous Glassdoor reviews, embezzlement rumors, a whistleblower silenced with an NDA, and a one-way ticket to obscurity. And me? I'd borne the brunt of one of those sins, a shipment of counterfeit Le Labo candles laced with lead, back in 18. She'd sworn it was my oversight as junior ops manager, and I let her, because loyalty's a bitch that bites back slow. That's when I found the clause, buried in the trust docs I'd hacked from the family server. Yeah, I had a guy, a disgruntled IT drone from her firm, who'd owed me a favor from that IRS mess. Article 17, subsection C. In the event of the principal's incapacity or demise without explicit revocation, any audio testament recorded post-amendment shall supersede prior directives, provided it invokes the Harrington Legacy Protocol. Incapacity, demise, audio testament. It was her failsafe, drafted in the 90s after Dad's yacht accident off the Hamptons. Rumor had it she'd pushed for that prenup clause too. Poetic, really. All I needed was her voice, saying the right words, and the empire flipped to me. But getting her to record it? That required more than a Hallmark card. Enter Dr. Elias Crow, the ghost in the machine. I found him on the dark web, buried in a forum for neural enhancements. Code for the underground biohacks flooding Jersey's warehouses since the FDA cracked down on Neuralink knockoffs. Body autonomy is a myth, his tagline read. Swap it like stocks. 50 grand. Every dime from my severance and a pawned Rolex Dad left me. And I was in his basement lab, electrodes buzzing like angry hornets, my consciousness bleeding into a sim of Mom's neural map. It wasn't a full swap, not yet, just a trial run, a echo imprint, to mimic her perfectly. Voice, gait, micro-expressions. Enough to fool a polygraph, or so he claimed. "You're not stealing her soul, Maddie," he muttered, his breath reeking of Red Bull and regret. "Just borrowing the shell." The first test was child's play. I slipped into Harrington Imports HQ on 5th Avenue, heels clicking like gunfire on marble, flashing Mom's biometrics via cloned fob. Security nodded. The receptionist cooed. "Morning, Mrs. Harrington, coffee black?" I nailed the lilt, that southern drawl she'd faked since Vanderbilt. In her corner office, Overlooking Central Park like a god surveying ants, I rifled drawers for dirt. Found it in a locked USB. Emails to a fixer in Miami, payoffs to silence the Vietnamese suppliers I'd outed. And deeper? A paternity test, yellowed and crumpled. Dad wasn't my father. Some lobbyist she'd betted in D.C., collateral from a trade deal. The secret she'd buried, the one that made me the volatile one, the outsider in my own bloodline. Rage is a solvent, eats through reason like acid on steel. I wanted her to feel it, that gut punch of exposure. But controversial? Hell, I went biblical. That night, I dosed her Pinot Noir with a microdose of scopolamine, truth serum light, swiped from Crow's stash. She was hosting a fundraiser at the plaza, all crystal chandeliers and crocodile handbags, schmoozing senators for tariff exemptions. I catered as Maddie the Temp, close enough to spike her glass mid-toast. By midnight, she was slurring confessions to a potted fern. Maddie's not mine. Not really. But she took the fall, poor fool. Keeps the wolves at bay. I recorded it all on my phone, hidden in a napkin fold. Her voice, raw and ragged. If I go, Maddie gets it all. Legacy protocol. She deserves it after what I did. Lies laced with truth, just enough to trigger the claws. But as she slumped, eyes glassy, I saw the flicker, recognition. You, she rasped, clawing my wrist. My ghost. I could have walked away then, let the tape do the work. But decisions like that? They're the fork in the road to damnation. The swap happened 2 weeks later, under a blood moon that turned the Hudson into Mercury. Crows Van idled in an abandoned Newark warehouse, the air thick with ozone and fear. Mom thought it was a wellness retreat. I'd lured her with promises of reconciliation, a daughter's spa day in the Pine Barrens. Strapped to the gurneys, IVs dripping sedative cocktails, we locked eyes through the haze. This'll fix us. I lied, my heart jackhammering. The machine word, a Frankenstein's orchestra of capacitors and code, and then, snap, like falling through ice into a stranger's skin. Waking up in her body was violation incarnate. Her manicured nails, her Pilates-toned abs, the faint scar from a C-section that wasn't for me. I gagged on the familiarity, the perfume of Chanel No. 5 clinging like guilt. Across the room, in my old shell, Mom stirred, 28 again, freckles and fire engine hair. What have you done? She croaked. Voice mine, accent pure Brooklyn grit. I smiled her smile, all teeth and triumph. Justice, mother. American as apple pie and eminent domain. The drive back to the city was a fever dream. Billboards blurred, Nike slogans, election ads for that populist firebrand promising to drain the swamp while swimming in it. I tuned the radio to NPR, her go-to for virtue signaling, but switched to classic rock when Springsteen's Born to Run hit. Boss New Jersey souls, the ones bartering freedom for revenge. Mom, in my body, ranted the whole way, threats of lawsuits, FBI calls. You'll rot in Rikers, you ungrateful bitch. I laughed, her laugh, throaty and dismissive. Try it. Who's gonna believe the disheveled ex-heir over Victoria Harrington? Infiltration was seamless. Her calendars synced to our phone, her Rolodex a Rolodex of power. First move, convene the board. Suited up in her Armani, I strode into HQ like I owned it, which, soon, I would. Gentlemen, ladies, I purred, channeling her Ice Queen vibe. We're pivoting. Ethical sourcing only. No more shadows in the supply chain. Gasps rippled. Old man Hargrove, her consigliera, choked on his latte. Victoria, this is radical. Radical? Try revolutionary. I leaked the Vietnam files to the Times that afternoon, anonymous tip from a burner. Stock dipped 8%, but the clause loomed, her final words as leverage. Nights blurred into paranoia. Mom, holed up in my apartment, plotted her counter. I'd catch her on hidden cams, pacing, dialing fixers, her face, my face, twisted in fury. She's me now? Has to end it. Controversial choice. I considered letting her rot, watching from the penthouse as she spiraled into irrelevance. But mercies for suckers. Instead, I visited, bearing takeout from Joe's Pizza, our guilty plea. Truce, I said, sliding in as her. She lunged, but my body was wiry, quick. I pinned her, whispering, feel that? The power you hoarded? It's mine. We wrestled like alley cats, her nails raking my cheek. Irony's cruel joke. I left her bruised, broken, but alive. For now. The tension coiled tighter than a G-string on a dive bar stage. Whispers in the halls. Victoria's off her game. Hargrove cornered me in the elevator, cigar breath hot. What's eating you, Vic? That daughter of yours stirring shit. I froze. Her freeze, imperious. Maddie's ancient history. Focus on the pivot. But doubt seeded. What if the swap glitched? Crow warned of echo bleed. Memories leaking, identities fraying. Already, I caught myself humming her favorite aria, craving kale smoothies. And Mom. She was adapting, dyeing my hair blonde, forging my ID for odd jobs. A barista gig at Starbucks, slinging lattes to yuppies who once envied her life. Schadenfreude is sweetest when it's symmetric. Climax brewed in the Hamptons, Labor Day weekend. The family compound, shingled monstrosity on Georgica Pond, where Dad drowned. She'd invited the board for a retreat, sealing deals over lobster rolls. I arrived solo, no Maddie in sight. Cocktails flowed. Sunset painted the dunes blood orange. That's when she struck. Mom, crashing the gate in my beat-up Civic, screaming, "Imposter." That's not Victoria. Guests gawked as security dragged her off, her pleas echoing. Test the eyes. The freckle on her thigh. It's wrong. Panic surged. Hargrove's hand twitched toward his phone. I raised her glass, my glass. Delusional episode. Send the car service, she'll sleep it off. But inside, the swap hummed. Unstable, memories flashing. Her pushing Dad overboard, waves swallowing his cries. Was that mine? Hers? The line blurred. Revenge isn't a sprint. It's a slow bleed, the kind that leaves you dizzy before you drop. By September, I'd wormed the claws into play. The voicemail, edited just enough to sound posthumous, timestamp fudged via Crow's dark web wizardry, landed in the estate lawyer's inbox like a grenade with a smiley face. This is Victoria Harrington. Effective my passing. I invoke the legacy protocol. All assets to Madeline E. Harrington. No exceptions. Her voice, my venom. The board convened emergency session. Stocks tanked another 12% on the leak. Hargrove pounded the table. Suicide pact? What's this madness? I sat at the head, her posture ramrod straight. Grief makes fools of us all. But the trust is ironclad. Power's an aphrodisiac and accelerant. I greenlit audits, firing cronies who'd greased her palms. The Miami fixer? Extradited on RICO charges, singing like Sinatra at a mob wedding. Mom's secrets unraveled. Offshore accounts in the Caymans, funneled through Shell Corps, named after forgotten lovers. The lobbyist? Dead a decade, but his widow got a fat settlement. My first good deed, as Vic controversial? Dumping her prized Matisse at Sotheby's fetched 85 mil, which I funneled to a victims fund for those sweatshop kids. Protests erupted outside HQ. Unions chanting blood money, while Wall Street Journal op-eds decried me as Victoria's woke turncoat. Loved it. The controversy was oxygen. It kept her, me, in the headlines, drowning out Mom's frantic posts on X from my old handle. Help, stolen life. Body swap scam. She was unraveling faster than a cheap sweater. Crow monitored via subdermal trackers I'd slipped during the swap. Her vitals spiking, sleep fractured. I visited under cover of night, scaling the fire escape to my old window like a cat burglar in a rom-com gone noir. She'd barricaded with pizza boxes, eyes wild under that go-doffel dye job. Give it back, she hissed, lunging with a kitchen knife. I disarmed her easy. Her reflexes in my body were shot from years of Zoloft and Zinfandel. We grappled, crashing into the futon, her breath hot on my neck. You think this erases it? The fall you made me take. I shoved her off, pinning with knees on her chest. Our fall, Vic Dad's too, if the logs from that yacht are real. That's when the bleed hit hard. Flash, salt spray, her hands on his back, a shove disguised as a hug. Laughter turning to gurgles. I recoiled, retching into the sink. Was it memory or malice? Mom cackled, triumphant. It's eating you, isn't it? The echo. You'll crack before I do. She was right. Mornings blurred, me waking in silk sheets, reaching for a husband who never existed. Her husband, the senator she'd airbrushed from family lore after the affair. I'd borne that silence too. High school whispers when his scandal sheet hit page 6. Keep quiet, Maddie. For the brand. Decisions forked like lightning. Let her fade, a ghost in my shell, or end it clean. The board pressured. Vic, the pivot's bleeding us dry. Reconsider the inheritance. Hargrove, that weasel, hinted at conservatorship, lock me away if I didn't toe the line. I countered with a buyout offer, sweetened with my reformed vision. But Mom? She escalated, hacking her email with passwords from our shared childhood diary. Threats flooded inboxes. I know the swap. Clinic footage. Feds incoming. Bluff or bomb? I paid Crow double to torch the lab. Flames lit Newark like a bonfire of vanities. October brought the high-stakes gala, black tie affair at the Guggenheim. Her schmooze fest for Beltway bucks. I glided through, emerald gown hugging curves I'd never earned, charming the Commerce Secretary with tales of sustainable silk. But midway, alarms wailed. Sprinklers drenched the spiral ramp in biblical flood. Chaos. Gowns ruined, donors fleeing. In the melee, I spotted her, Mom, in a stolen server's tux, face smeared with caviar camouflage. She cornered me in the basement loading dock, rain pooling from a busted pipe. Sign it over, she snarled, waving a flash drive. Or this goes viral. Victoria Harrington, body thief. We circled like sharks in a kiddie pool, the air electric with ozone and old hate. You stole my life first. I spat, her voice echoing off concrete. The business, the name, left me the scraps. She lunged. I sidestepped, her momentum slamming into crates of champagne. Bottles shattered, foam fizzing like rage unchecked. I grabbed a shard, held it to her, my throat. Controversial calculus. One slice, and the swap reversed? Or just blood on both hands? Do it, she taunted, eyes gleaming with my old fire. Be the monster you always were. I pressed, just enough for a nick, crimson welling. Sirens wailed outside. Cops or coincidence? We bolted separate ways, her into the night, me back to the penthouse, pulse thundering like a bass drop at output. The aftermath? A media circus. TMZ splashed Harrington heiress meltdown, with grainy shots of me fleeing the gala. Stock cratered 20%. The board revolted, calling a no-confidence vote. I played the victim. Presser in her office, tears artfully smudged. Personal demons. But the pivot stands. Ethics over empire. America ate it up, divided as a MAGA rally. Team Vic trending with think pieces on corporate redemption, while Justice for Maddie amplified her ex-rants. She'd gone full unhinged, live-streaming from a Queens motel. My daughter's a witch. Stole my soul. Views spiked. Conspiracy fodder for Q-adjacent pods. I watched, nursing a scotch, her brand, Lagavulin 16, wondering if I'd created a martyr or a meme. Echo bleed worsened. Dreams merged. Her trysts in D.C. motels, my prom night alone with a bottle of Boone's Farm. Waking, I traced the scar, hers, not mine, and whisper, who am I? Crow ghosted, his line dead, Van Ash. Desperate, I hit the forums, trading crypto for leads. Found a rival hacker, Phantom, who decoded the flash drive. Not just footage, but the swap's kill code. A frequency burst to unscramble us, reversible in 48 hours. Mom had it, a nuclear option. If she triggered it mid-board meeting? Catastrophe. 2 Vics, 1 Maddie, screaming identity theft in stereo. November's chill bit like regret. Thanksgiving loomed, that hollow Harrington tradition of turkey and tension. I invited her to the brownstone, under truce flag. Endgame, my text read. She arrived feral, hair matted, my old jeans ripped, flanked by a PI she'd hired, a grizzled ex-cop named Ruiz. Neutral ground, he grunted, patting a Glock. We sat at the oak table, ghosts of holidays past in the chandelier's gleam. The drive, I said, sliding a check, 7 figures, enough for a new life in Belize. She snatched it, then the kill code fob. Too late, sweetheart. You wanted Mom? Here's the truth. She hit play on her phone, audio log, time-stamped 18. My voice slurred. Yeah, I spiked the shipment. Lead levels. My idea. Forged? No, my confession, coerced after she framed me for the counterfeits. But deeper, Dad's yacht logs, unaltered. No shove. Accidental overdose. His heart meds mixed with hers, a lover's quarrel gone fatal. You killed him, I whispered, her lips numb. Not me. Us. Cover up to protect the brand. The secret inverted. I'd borne her guilt, thinking it malice, when it was mere mortal fuck-up. Rage flipped to revelation. Give it back. I begged, but she grinned my grin. Nah, this body's got potential. Watch me burn your pivot to the ground. She bolted with Ruiz, fob in pocket. I pursued into the sleet-slick streets, tires screeching on Park Avenue. Crash of metal, honks like judgment horns. We ended in an ER bay, sirens fading, monitors beeping our fractured duet. Hospitals are limbo's waiting room. Beeps and bleach, the great equalizer under fluorescent hell. They separated us. Victoria in a private suite, Madeline in the psych ward, sedated for delusions. Nurses buzzed, mistaking her ravings for my breakdown. I played along, her haughty sniff at the doc. Get me my lawyer. This is harassment. But inside, the bleed screamed. Memories dueling like barflies over the last stool. Dad's laugh on the yacht, not his choke. Her tears at the funeral, real grief masked as poise. I'd built my revenge on a lie, a scaffold of spite crumbling under truth's indifferent boot. Discharge came swift. Money greases more than wheels. Hargrove fetched me, whisking to the brownstone with NDAs and a private jet on standby. The vote's tomorrow, Vic, pull it together. I nodded, plotting. The fob, her ace, was an evidence lockup, tagged from the crash. Bribe a clerk? Or trigger the clause pre-vote? Lock the inheritance? Controversial calculus again. Mercy kill the swap, or let it metastasize? America watched, divided. CNN panels debating Harrington's Hamlet, identity or insanity, while Fox called it woke witch hunt. My ex feed, hers, flooded with DMs, supporters vowing to expose the deep state steal, haters memeing me as Cruella de Harrington. Night felt like a verdict. I slipped the penthouse, Uber Black to Bellevue's underbelly. Flash Vic's badge, copied from her wallet, and I was in, corridors echoing with moans. Mom paced her cell, my body gone under scrubs. Took you long enough, she sneered. No fight this time. Exhaustion etched us both. The truth changes nothing, I said, unlocking the door. It changes everything. We huddled in the linen closet, voices overlapping in eerie harmony. Her confession spilled. The lobbyist, the one-night stand that birthed me. Dad knew. Loved you anyway. The frame job? To test you. Weeds out the weak. Test. Like some twisted apprenticeship, Wall Street's baptism by fire. The fob hummed in her fist. Reverse it, she urged. Be you again. But doubt not. My shell, worn thin by her poisons, might not hold. And the empire? Mine by claws, if I played God. Decision crystallized. Dark as the East River at dawn, partial swap. Crow's protocol had a loophole, consciousness splice, merging echoes without full revert. Together, I proposed. Co-pilots in this corpse. She balked, insane. But the alternative? Mutual destruction. We jury-rigged it in the psych lab, stolen electrodes, and a pilfered defibrillator for juice. Sparks flew. Pain lanced like lightning through veins. Snap. Not separation, but fusion, her cunning laced with my fire, a hybrid fury. Dawn broke as I strode from Bellevue, singular again, but amplified. Mom's poise in my stride, my grit in her gaze. The boardroom awaited, mahogany altar to capitalism's gods. Hargrove blanched at the door. Vic? You look rested. I smiled, dual-edged. Enlightened. The vote loomed. Proxies filed in, suits crisp as fresh lies. I hit play on the voicemail. Public now, broadcast on the conference screen. Gasps. Shares plummeted in real time on the Bloomberg feed. Legacy to Madeline. Our. Voice declared. Chaos erupted. Calls for recess, lawyers scrambling. Hargrove lunged for the remote. I blocked him, heel grinding his instep. It's binding, or we all burn. Climax crested in shouts and shoves, fists flying like a Wall Street brawl, ties askew, a decanter shattering like fragile egos. I invoked the clause mid-melee, notary on speed dial via phone. Signatures bled ink, the pivot locked, assets rerouted. But the twist? Mom's echo whispered the reversal. The real clause buried deeper, Article 19. In cases of fraud or duress, all amendments void. Bloodline primacy restored. I triggered it unwittingly, her final safeguard against thieves like us. Empire intact, but tainted. Headlines screaming Harrington hoax, daughter's revenge, or family fraud. We fled to the Hamptons, the compound a sanctuary of salt and secrets. No cops, too many donors on payroll, no headlines stuck, drowned in election noise. Fusion held, uneasy truce. Her boardroom savvy plotting green expansions, my conscience auditing the sins. Nights, we'd spar verbally on the widow's walk, winds whipping like accusations. Was it worth it? Her voice echoed in my skull. The betrayal, the swap? I'd counter, yours or mine. America moved on. New scandals, a president-elect promising walls and wonders. But we lingered, ghosts in a shared skin, debating absolution over ouzo sunsets. Ending? Debatable as a jury hung on reasonable doubt. Happy, in the empire's rebirth, sustainable threads weaving from ashes? Or tragic, forever halved, identities scarred like that C-section reminder? Readers will argue in comments, book clubs fracturing over wine. Me? I stare at the pond, Dad's ghost waving from waves, and whisper to the hybrid heart, family first. Even if it's the lie that sets you free.